The harvest. The wheat whispered secrets I couldn't quite hear when I first arrived at my father's farm. Standing in the fading autumn light, key still in hand, I watched the stalks sway against an impossible wind. The movement seemed almost deliberate, as if something vast shifted beneath the golden surface. I hadn't visited in 15 years, not since I left for college with dreams of corporate success clutched tight to my chest. Now, at 35, I returned only because the lawyer insisted I needed to handle the inheritance in person. Father's death had been unexpected, or so they said. Heart attack in the field, natural causes, but something in the attorney's voice suggested otherwise. The house loomed before me, a Victorian farmhouse that had sheltered 5 generations of Wheelers. Its windows reflected the sunset in shades of amber and crimson, making them look like dying eyes. The porch steps creaked beneath my Italian leather shoes. City shoes, wrong for this place. Everything about me felt wrong here. Inside, the air hung thick with the sweet, musty scent of aged wood and something else, something that reminded me of overripe fruit on the verge of rot. My footsteps echoed through empty rooms, still furnished with the heavy oak pieces my great-grandfather had built. Family photos lined the walls, chronicling generations of Wheelers standing proud before their harvest. In each one, they wore the same strange, knowing smile. I found my father's journal in his study, its leather cover worn smooth by years of handling. The early entries detailed normal farming operations, crop rotations, rainfall measurements, yield calculations. But as I flipped through the pages, the handwriting grew increasingly erratic, and the content shifted. August 15th. The patterns are spreading again. They need to be fed. September 3rd. Found another shrine in the basement. Symbols older than our family, older than this land. October 1st. They whisper louder now. The soil hungers. I understand what must be done. The final entry, dated just days before his death, contained only 3 words. Thomas will understand. That first night I couldn't sleep. The grandfather clock in the hallway chimed backwards, counting up instead of down, and the wheat fields rustled with movement no wind could explain. Around 3 a.m. I went to the window. The moon cast enough light to see the patterns, vast symbols pressed into the wheat like crop circles, but more angular, more ancient. They seemed to pulse with a rhythm that matched my heartbeat. I told myself it was exhaustion, grief, the disorientation of returning to a place that held too many memories. But in the following days, things only grew stranger. The GPS on my phone showed me in different locations every time I checked, though I hadn't moved. Farm equipment relocated overnight, leaving tracks that led nowhere. Dead crows appeared in perfect geometric patterns across the fields, their bodies aligned with mathematical precision. Sleep became impossible. The whispers grew louder, more insistent. They spoke of ancient bargains, of debts paid in blood and bone. I found more of my father's research hidden behind a loose panel. Newspaper clippings about disappeared farm workers spanning decades, books on prehistoric fertility rites, hand-drawn maps marking sites of supposed sacrificial grounds. The security cameras I installed captured shadows moving through the wheat at night. Shadows that walked like men but were too tall, too fluid in their movements. The footage showed the wheat parting before them like water, flowing around their forms as they passed. My grip on reality began to slip, or perhaps reality itself was slipping, revealing something older and darker beneath its surface. The symbols in the wheat began appearing in my dreams, burning themselves into my mind until I understood their meaning without wanting to. They spoke of power, of bargains, of transformation. In the basement, behind a shelf of canned vegetables, I found a hidden door frame carved with the same symbols. The door itself opened to reveal a small chamber containing a chest bound in iron. Inside lay ritual items, a curved blade of black metal, a crown woven from wheat stalks that seemed to move on their own, and a mask carved from wood so dark it swallowed light. The final pieces fell into place when I found my father's true last journal hidden within the chest. It detailed generations of Wheelers making the same bargain with something that lived in the land, something that demanded tribute for the miracle of growth, for harvests that exceeded any natural yield. My father hadn't died of a heart attack. He had offered himself willingly, becoming part of the force that dwelled in the soil, just as his father had done before him, just as I would need to do, or find another to take my place. I understood then why the lawyer had seemed so nervous, why the local farmers kept their distance. They knew. They had always known. This land held power, and power demands payment. The night of the harvest moon, I stood in the center of the largest symbol, feeling the wheat bend toward me like iron filings drawn to a magnet. The entity rose from the earth itself, soil and shadow taking form. It showed me visions of future harvests, of wealth beyond imagination, of power that could reshape the world. All it asked was dedication, sacrifice, transformation. I made my choice that night. These days, the farm produces 4 times what any other in the county manages. The soil grows richer every season, dark and fertile beyond any natural means. People notice, but they don't ask questions. They avert their eyes when they pass by, accelerate when they drive past my gate. The guest room is always ready. Occasionally, a traveler seeks shelter, someone who won't be missed. The land must be fed, after all. The bargain must be kept. Father was right. I understand now. And when the time comes, I'll choose my successor, just as he chose me. The land endures. The harvest must continue. After all, this is what it means to be a wheeler.